I played a show for a roofing company in Oklahoma, and it was the wife's birthday, and she got an entire Louis Vuitton set for her cow at that party.
Wait, what?
She got a Louis Vuitton like
Set of
harness.
what? Oh,
like I got
it.
like a whole set, like a
that's
Louis
even
Vuitton
weirder.
harness.
I thought
They made me think about it.
They make Louis Vuitton harnesses?
I don't think they do. I think they did. You know what I mean?
For one?
I think so.
Yeah, so those that are just listening, I have on a pair of Air Max red Nike Louis Vuitton.
Mm-hmm.
And I love them. And when I put these on, I know that I can't hop into a pickleball match.
That seems more like a personal boundary for you than the shoe, but I think
I will
could
hurt
mess
myself
up
if they're
some.
loose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have to tighten these way up. I can't do that. So what's your shoe deal? Because you have a pretty cool fashion sense in general. Why?
I love half and half. I always have. When I was probably in like 8th grade, my sister got a pair of Kool-Aids, and she couldn't pick between the yellow pair and the green pair, so she bought both, and she wore like the right and left shoe of both colors. And ever since then, I've been obsessed with half and half. So my laces are half and half. For tour, I have a khaki Timberland and a black Timberland. I always mix my Converse half and half.
That wouldn't work for me. I'm pretty colorblind in general. So I'd accidentally be normal.
But you could tell the difference between a dark shoe and a light shoe.
If it was black and white, yeah. But blue and green, no.
Can you tell that my laces are different?
I didn't notice they were different until you said that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about the whole colorblind thing. It's certain colors for certain people, right?
All mine's dark colors. After about a 6 on the scale, it's all black. Maybe 6.5.
How do you pick the colors you like to wear?
I love red. I'm wearing a lot of red today.
Because you can see it? Or
I can see red a little darker. But yeah, I wear a lot of red or light colors. My wife helps me. When I was in high school and I was in Key Club, which is Kiwanis Educating Youth, and I would go speak and try to win scholarships. And so they let me, because of my quote unquote disability, I don't say that now, but they let me take my friend with me to match clothes because I couldn't tell the difference. I really didn't need them, but
the camaraderie is kind of cool, but that's crazy.
Yeah, no, I really didn't need them because I can just, like, now a lot of my stuff's labeled as well. But I'm not blind. My right eye doesn't work. I have 8% vision in my right eye in general. So I should have a handicap sticker, and I don't.
And you still pickleball the hell out of it, though.
Imagine, though, if I had both eyes, how good I would be.
I don't think anyone wants to.
They shouldn't.
You'd be unstoppable.
Because I want a bronze medal with one eye. Imagine if I had both eyes. I'd have a silver. Man. You play pickleball at all?
I'm going to tell you no, but yes, I do play pickleball, yeah.
What do you do? So if you're going to work out, though, you say you don't have to say the name of the gym, but you go to
I just go to a local gym when I want to work out that has like free weights. I love lifting.
And you can make yourself work hard?
Yeah.
Because I can make myself work hard at work. It's hard for me to just push myself physically to the point where it's uncomfortable, which I pay a trainer to do. But it's hard for me to push myself in that part of my life that I push myself so hard it makes me uncomfortable. But you can do that.
Yeah, I feel like I perform for everybody else all the time. And the gym is the only place that I only perform for Allie.
That's interesting. I feel like I don't want to perform anywhere else. And the gym's part of the place I don't want to perform.
I can't relate to not wanting to perform.
Yeah, I'm such an introvert when I'm not an extrovert.
But you don't perform for yourself at home?
I perform for my dogs. I do bits all the time for my dogs and my wife, but she didn't really like the bits.
Oh, the worlds your dogs have seen.
Yeah, I do a lot of bits. But I'm very introverted. If I'm not on, a lot of people will go, if they'll see me at a restaurant or something, and they won't come say hi. This is the annoying part about it. They won't come say hi, but then they'll tag me in something and be like, he was a total jerk.
Yeah, they'll tell somebody later that you were like put off, but they didn't.
And I was like, you never said anything to me. And I naturally am a quiet person that feels like nobody wants me in their space, so I don't get in their space.
Well, the expectation for someone to expect you to come and create rapport just because you're in a room is crazy. You don't know they're there, and you don't care they're there, respectfully. You're just at first watch having some avocado toast. You know what I mean? That's crazy. You shouldn't have to set rapport with the entire room.
Yes, and I agree. I also appreciate the fact that they think they know me well enough. Because it's an odd relationship to have with that, because it does irritate me when people will say, man, he was a jerk, or tag me, hey, you were such a jerk at this place. And I'm like, you never said hi to me. How am I supposed to react to somebody who doesn't come up and say hello? However, I think for me, the benefit of that is somebody feels like they know me well enough through what they've consumed from me that they feel I should be a certain way. And that's intimate in that content, absorption from people. And I don't think it's fair, but I have found kind of a silver lining to that people feel they know me well enough to get upset irrationally. Because it's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. I know that you're an introvert, so maybe you don't relate to this, or maybe you do. I'm an introvert, so if I'm out in public, I've just already decided I'm out in public. How do you feel about people who are like, if celebrities aren't going to be nice to you, they have no reason to go to a restaurant?
I hate that.
I feel like they should be able to go to the restaurant.
I agree. There's only 2 rules that I give people that listen to me, and they don't have to listen to my rules, but if a celebrity is with a kid or they have food in front of them in a public place,
absolutely,
leave them alone.
Absolutely.
Other than that, they know what they've got themselves into, and they've gone in public knowing that people will know them. Their job was to be known.
Yeah.
So if they have a kid with them, don't bother them. Or if there's food in front of them, don't bother them. Other than that, they have the right to say no as a celebrity.
Absolutely.
They can absolutely be a jerk all they want. But you're in a public place. Go up and say hi.
Yeah.
And most times I have found that people enjoy when normal people come up and say they're a fan of them. That's kind of why they got into the business.
Absolutely.
Most times. There's a rare exception of people who are jerks. But most people that create for public consumption enjoy it when the public comes up and says, I enjoy what you have put out.
Yeah.
But just no kids and no food. Other than that, they're free game. And I don't...
the kids and the food thing is very cool to me.
Why? Because you were the kid once?
I was the kid.
I was thinking about you today leading into this for that exact reason. It's so funny that we ended up on this because I was thinking, man, I bet your relationship with fame is so weird because you probably just wanted to have parents.
I just wanted to have parents. And I just wanted to have parents that could be parents too. You know, like, and that's always tough because you're you know, considering this lifeline that isn't real. So who knows what we're talking about? You know what I mean? But I do wonder sometimes what something would have been like if my dad was always just dad, if like that was his biggest thing. But that takes away 82% of the human that man is. You know what I mean? He's a lot more than just a dad. So, but I was the kid and it was really tough. And I only found when we were eating. So I think it's really interesting you say that. If you want to come up and say hi when we're shopping at the grocery store, it never bothered me. It really didn't. But there was something about when we're eating and he has to stand up and make sure that he is not have food in his teeth and that he doesn't, you know what I mean? And all the things that a human should be able to do when they're sitting and eating with their family. And that was always really tough.
And I'm not going to compare my situation to yours in any way or my wife's, but so when I got married, for my wife, the situation was a bit difficult in that I got to grow with whatever version of fame that I have. Because I'm definitely not famous, but I am known in parts of the country. And people do come up and say hello. And that's great 99% of the time. It really is. I got to grow with that.
Right.
Meaning I got to be in a small town. I got to syndicate myself. I did shows of 100 people.
Yeah, you got to evolve as you evolve.
For sure. So I grew with it, learned, where my wife was kind of dunked into it.
Yeah.
And I would be like, oh, it's okay they're recording us from 2 tables over. It's not a big deal. But to her, that was her starting point. So it was really weird.
I can't imagine. I feel that way about the TikTok and the viral thing with these artists right now. I think we've seen the last 5 years the most mental effect on these new artists who haven't done anything. And then now they're on an opening tour or haven't done. And it's like, I can't imagine that. And I have a lot of stuff that I have a big chip on my shoulder about with having, famous parents and like living and growing up in that way that I do. But I can't imagine running into it at 19. You know what I mean? Out of nowhere and like being viral overnight or running into it at 22 out of nowhere. Like, so I'm very grateful to have gotten to seen it on the spectrum that I saw it. And then now I've experienced it in my own way in such a totally different spectrum than the way that I did as a child. But
it's crazy that would, I'll say relieve, because in a different way, I feel it too. It relieves a bit of resentment.
It does.
You're able to see somebody else go into it differently.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, that would kind of suck.
Perspective's
it is a tool, but you only get it through situations you didn't ask for.
Yeah, like patience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like if you have
That
perspective,
sucks.
it's because you've been through something
that sucks.
that wasn't desirable.
Yeah.
So we have kind of rules at the house. My wife's very private. And part of that too is probably her getting dunked in it and me not understanding I needed to care more. I think I failed a bit early on because I didn't understand I needed to care more about that part of our life because I'd just been so public with everything. And
Right.
she's very private. Was there a part of your life where you were just like, and maybe it's not even, it's in your name. I don't know what it is. Like that you were just like, I need this for me because my life has been associated with Garth Brooks or country music, or like, what did you keep to yourself that was so private or different?
I'm still working really hard on that. I don't know. I really don't know. I've been in therapy for the last 3 years specifically for that. Because, growing up the way that I did, you were just privileged. You know what I mean? Like, you just had everything that nobody else had. Like, there couldn't have been anything wrong because we had so much. You know what I mean?
Now, to be fair, what you're saying is, just so I can speak between the words you're actually saying, you're saying you weren't allowed to feel like you down because you were so up.
I didn't know that until I was an adult. But, of course, like, we had everything. And my parents came from, respectfully, nothing, So I don't know that it even crossed maybe their brains that we could go without because we had everything. And so I didn't know. And when we talk about performing in the gym and all of those things, and I had to learn at, a very young age that you didn't just get to be a wild kid in the grocery store because what you did was a reflection of Garth Brooks. You know what I mean? And we, as a family, we love that name. We love the name of Trisha Yearwood. We love the name of Garth Brooks. Now, those products are not my parents. You know what I mean? My bonus mom is my bonus mom, and my dad and my mom are my parents, and that's what they are. But there's also that thing of growing up where it's like, man, and anyone from who's like a really, really small town also gets it too on that spectrum. Like if you get in trouble at the bar, you know what I mean, when you're 21 on your first time, like that is a reflection of your family in that small town. You know what I mean? And so think about that globally. It just seemed like everything we did. So we tried to get the best grades, and we tried to be the best athletes, and we tried to be the kindest people in town. You know what I mean? Like you just try and do all that thing, like what you're talking about earlier, just to negate any possible run-ins with like being anything that's negative. And so as an adult, I'm 28 now, and I'm really trying to figure out what Allie does for Allie.
Have you read, and this is such a cliche book, but I say that because I just read it, and I always felt it was cliche, so I never read it. But what's it, Mike?
Is it Let Them?
No, it's 50, 60 years old at this point.
Then I haven't read it.
Not the Four Agreements. Have you read the Four Agreements?
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Okay, so Four Agreements it's very short. Come on, let me pull up on my books here. I just finished it, and I'd been told by every.
Had you read it for the first time this time, or is it something you read?
No, it was the first time I read it. I just read The Alchemist.
I'm familiar with the title.
Okay, me too. That's all I was familiar with. And so the whole thing's about finding your personal legend. The whole book.
Explain that to me. What's a personal
your purpose?
Legend? Oh, like your legacy. Like
like why do you exist? Like what inside of you, what is your purpose for being here? And I think my purpose was so attached to my career for so long.
Right.
Like that's the only thing I really had control in, though. Because coming from how I grew up, I didn't have control. I didn't have any family, so.
Children do not have agency.
Okay, go ahead.
Children do not have agency.
I felt like I had to develop agency very early.
Because you had to?
Yes.
Is not a fault. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like any child that had to establish their own agency before, let's just say 18, because culturally that's what we do here. At 18, you're out there and you're able to make your own decisions. You can mess up with the IRS and go to jail. You can do all the things at 18. So anyone who has to establish agency for them before that is something that you're going to have to go back through your entire life with your new beautiful frontal lobe that you have now and reprogram all of those things. Children do not have agency. Children have freedom to be children. And that is not the case for, I'm sure, most people. You know what I mean? Like, we all have to do it. But you didn't have agency as a child.
I would say, though, how I compare my childhood is I would compare it to yours in the parallel of you may have had the ability to not have to have agency for so long that it could have kept you from growing in certain ways.
We didn't have agency because I think the biggest thing of agency is not having the freedom to be a child, not having the freedom to grow up and establish your own likes and dislikes, like your own fears and not fears. Instead, you have like this lifeline that is thrown onto you that kind of takes away that agency. And so for you, having to perform in such a way when you were younger because you had to step in and fill roles that children should not have to fill, I think that affects the self the same way.
But don't you think you had to step in and fill roles of the expectation that you had put on yourself to be whomever everybody else thought you were?
Absolutely. My siblings and I had absolutely no agency to grow and to evolve at an appropriate pace. You know what I mean?
Like
that
to find your real
a
self.
reflection. Yes.
Yeah.
And so how are you encouraged to do that with The Alchemist? And where do you land at? Is there a landing point?
I don't think there's a landing point ever, just in general anyway.
I hate
Yeah,
that.
I don't
I
think
hate that.
I think the one thing I've learned is there really is no target ever. You just kind of aim toward a goal, and then at any time you want to modify that, you have the ability to modify that.
Yeah.
My goals used to be A and B, and in therapy, I've had a real hard time with not feeling like a failure because I'm modifying a goal. Because I feel like if I'm modifying a goal, I'm giving up.
So how is purpose defined in The Alchemist?
That it's okay to chase your sense of self, even if it wasn't your sense of self even 5 minutes ago. That there is no definitive sense of self. That a lot of the things that we prioritize and make extremely important, we're making important for exterior, for reasons that really don't matter to us. It matters to other people, and other people matter to us. And limiting that, because it's never going to be gone.
Yeah.
And so, I avoided that book forever. And I read it, and pretty freaking amazing. I get it. I get why people like talk about it so much. But same thing with the Four Agreements. Like I read that, didn't want to. Friend was like, read it. And for me, the part of that book was nothing in business is personal. Even if it is, it's not.
Well, those things push you to make a decision that is bigger than the self. I think the same thing with like pushing yourself to work out. It's like, it's just pushing that bigger conversation. That's like, I don't know, it's hard, but I do like the frustration you have with taking on new stuff that you know is going to be helpful, but you also know that you have to evolve afterwards.
I'm good with delayed gratification. I really am, because all my gratification has been extremely delayed. Extremely. So, I'm pretty good with delayed gratification. You have a lot of tattoos.
I was looking at this photograph before you came in here, and I was thinking about the ones that are not on this photograph. I like doing that every time I come into a room. I'm like, what's new?
What are you saying with all these tattoos?
I think that they all say, something different in their own way. I also don't find it to be too serious, in the sense of, I saw a woman when I was probably 8 or 9 that was just covered head to toe in tattoos, and I thought, what a story. Like, that's crazy. Like, I just thought she was stunning, and I thought, I want to represent what I've learned and how I've evolved in a bunch of tiny little things that matter to me. And some of them are just cool, man. Some of them I just think are cool. Like my Band-Aid. Are you joking?
I think all of them are probably cool. And I guess, though, I wonder if you were, in your mind, required to live a certain way because of the expectation upon you, is this a way to say, there is no expectation on me anymore?
I think for me, it's just an outward thing of like, and maybe that is one of the few things that I have done for myself. I have tattoos of myself. I have 2 tattoos of myself. And where she was when she got them and who she is now. Because I don't know who else is ever going to get an Allie Colleen leg sleeve. If there are a couple people, that'd be pretty rad. But I don't think there are. I think it's probably just me. So I'll do it. But I just love it. But I've never thought about it as any kind of like negating what people expect me to look like. I've never taken it that way. I don't mean to put words in your mouth.
No,
but
I did take it as that.
Yeah,
completely.
I've had a lot of people ask me that and ask about, oh, well, so you have tattoos because your parents don't like tattoos, whatever the case is. And I'm like, it has never crossed my mind to ask my parents what they thought about my tattoos or my body.
How many do you have?
I don't know. I've passed, with both of my arms being one whole piece, I know I've passed 30.
What was your first tattoo?
My elephant.
Which one? There?
Mm-hmm.
On your leg?
Yes.
That's a odd place to get a first tattoo. Right on your quad?
I already had my sleeve planned out, but I graduated. I was one of those really late summer birthdays. I graduated like 17, so I knew I was going to be in Nashville when I was 18 because I chose my university here. And so I already had Jay picked out. Jay Quarles is my tattoo artist. I absolutely love him. And so I already had him picked out. So I just wanted something to get on my 18th birthday, and the elephant was a painting that I'd done. And so I wanted to do my own first tattoo. Like I wanted to design it.
Are they all personal?
Not all of them. Most of them, yes. Some of them I genuinely think just look absolutely cool. Just swag.
What's more personal, a tattoo or a song that you've written? Because I'm assuming not all songs are as personal as others. I mean, there's a scale.
There's absolutely a scale. I mean, there's those songs there's very few of these because I feel like as performers, when something touches us that much, we kind of have that ego of thinking it can affect a lot of people. But if you ever meet songwriters who have songs that they've truly never played for anybody else, that I think is the most personal thing that you can have.
Do you have one of those, 2 of those, 3 of those?
I only have one.
Why?
Everything else I've always wanted to share in some capacity with somebody.
Are you making it precious or are you insecure?
I think it's a shame thing, for sure. But I think it's one of the very few ways, like outlets that I've learned to navigate shame with that I like, but it's also rooted in performing, which I'm trying to get away from. If I can turn my shame into something that I think is beautiful and that someone could listen to it without arguing against it or negating its purpose, surely I did a good job. That's performing.
Is the shame limiting itself as time goes by in your dream scenario, or are you always going to hold this song this precious?
I think I'll hold it this precious until I don't have shame for what the song is about. You know what I mean? Like for shame for that memory, shame for that circumstance, shame for how I reacted or didn't react to that circumstance. I think that the shame will always be there. And then there's also that performing thing of like, it's something that I don't want anyone's even positive affirmations about yet. It's just a little personal world. I don't know. But I don't think I have any tattoos that I would feel as personal about to a song.
Do you have any tattoos from songs? Like, did you write a song and go, I'm going to make this makes me feel a certain way, or it's about a certain thing?
Yeah. I have started my back recently, which is going to be over my lifetime, all lyrics of mine that really mean something to me. So I have a song called Wildflower, and that chorus is the first lyrics that are on my back so far. Because it's just one of the songs that I want to represent for the rest of my life, and one of the songs that I wrote for me to represent for the rest of my life.
Are you OCD that the lyrics all have to be in the same font or same size?
No. I've already made it. I've made sure that they can all be like hodgepodged, and like the margins are all different on all of them too, and the font's different on all of them based off of like the character of the song. So the font should reflect the song, if that makes any kind of sense.
How often do you write?
I write in some capacity every day, whether it's like free writing or whether it's actually putting melody to lyrics or whether it's co-writing, or I write every day.
Are you a melody first or a concept lyric first?
Always different.
Generally, 51% of the time.
Concept first. It's happening less and less as I get older that I just have a melody that I can't shake, that I want to put it like a narrative to. Usually it's trying to find the melody that fits the narrative.
Where's home?
Somewhere where there's food. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's not Oklahoma. It's not here. I live here. I was raised in Oklahoma. I don't know where I'm going to end up or where I want to spend my personal time.
God knocks on the door and says, hey, take me to your home. Where do you take him?
Take him to the barn. I have a barn at my house. It has the best acoustics on the planet.
Why?
I think just because it's open and it's like concrete and wood. You know what I mean? It's nothing but refracturing sound. There's no soundproofing or absorbing or anything out there.
But there must be a security there in that spot, though, if you pick that.
I think it's just where I'm always alone. My house I've invited people into. My personal life is very small, so it's also very connected. I only have really like 2 best friends and people that I spend my time with, so it's all really connected. Family's weird, will always be weird, and I love them all so much. But the barn is the only place where it's ever just me. No one works in there with me. No one cleans it with me. No one takes care of the horses with me. That's just my place.
So that is your security.
I think so.
And that barn probably, allow me to put some words in your mouth and then you can take them out. That barn could probably exist in a few places if it needed to.
Yeah.
Like it's not that literal place. It's what it stands for and what you can do in it.
Yeah.
So it's not Oklahoma, huh?
No.
When was that not home?
Oklahoma never felt like home. Oklahoma has always felt like an expectation. And a weird thing. I have a song on this project that's called Oklahoma Mountains. And there are no mountains in Oklahoma. I'm sure you've been there. I'm sure you know.
My wife's from there where there are a lot.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. There's nothing. You get lost. You just look up. You're
just
like, oh, that's where we're headed.
The one thing, they're great in-laws. That's what I'll say about that.
The people.
Yes.
Okay, the people in Oklahoma are incredible. Everyone in Oklahoma will agree with you. They're the best and the worst part. The people are what it is. But Oklahoma Mountains is just, they say there's no mountains in Oklahoma. Why have I always had to climb? Oklahoma is just tough for me. It's tough on me. It's tough for me. I don't know. And that's probably an Allie thing.
Is that an expectation to being Garth's daughter thing?
I don't know that it's so much an expectation as much as it's like just like this really hard label that nobody will move.
What's the label?
Just being a product's daughter. Like there's not even an Allie in the title. I feel like we've talked about this in the past grammar wise. My vendetta with Garth Brooks' daughter, Allie Colleen, is really, really great and works really hard on her own. That whole sentence is still wrong because I am an adjective of the noun. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like I am a daughter to a title. That's crazy because like he's a product. Like Garth Brooks is a product that has been molded and shaped it and worked for, and I am a fan of it. I love what it represents. I love who it is. I love everything about it. But that's what it is. Like Garth Brooks is a product. Allie Colleen is a product. I've worked really hard on it. You know what I mean? On its shelving, on its packaging, on what it represents, on where it comes from, all of those things. But it doesn't have a byproduct. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a byproduct of Garth Brooks. He's just my dad, and we love each other. And then I went off and made a career for myself in music. You know what I mean? And in Oklahoma, you're just always a daughter. You're always someone who's probably never worked very hard for anything. You're always someone who probably has all of her finance taken care of. You're probably someone who dad sits in the meetings with you and makes sure that you've become as successful as you are. Like, you're just always some kind of byproduct of someone else's legacy. And that's not what I am.
Do you think you have to work harder than the average hard worker to prove that you work hard?
Yeah.
Do you think it? I'm not saying is it real. I'm saying,
yes.
Do you think you...
I do. I think it, yes.
Because
that has been the narrative that I've been told for as long as I can remember. I think I shared this with you last time. My first spelling test, made 100 on it, did a great job. You know what I mean? Crushed it. Kid next to me spelled beans wrong. B-E-E-N-S. You know what I mean? Beans. Rock on, dude. You were so close. I got 100 on that spelling test because of who my dad is.
Which...
You know what I mean? Like just being told from the age that you were 6, from someone who you sit next to in class and do the same work with, you do the same things every day. I went home and practiced. You know what I mean? And that has been the case my entire life. Every soccer team I've ever made, every tryout I've ever had, every grade I've ever made, the car I drive, the house I have, all of these things, you know, and everybody has their labels. Everyone has their stuff. I'm not special. We all have our things we have to get over. Those are just things that I'm really trying to get over.
I want to make a comparison. It's not to your dad, and I hope the comparison's okay. And if it's not, then we'll just say it's not okay, and you can we'll talk about it. But Nicotine, the song, it feels, I won't say sounds like, but it feels like a Ashley McBryde type song. Because I love Ashley.
I love Ashley.
Ashley's from Arkansas, like I am, small town in Arkansas. Like we grew up in similar situations. So I love Ashley, and I say that in a very complimentary way. It feels like a story that she would tell. How does that make you feel if I make a comparison to somebody else? Because I don't think it's derivative of it at all, but I think that is a skill that a few people have.
I want to be Ashley McBryde. So that makes me feel like the coolest kid on the planet, that I could even do something that Ashley would do. I think that's the coolest thing on the planet. But I've never once been told when I do something that I'm really proud of that Ashley McBryde made that happen for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just never happened
I
in my
also
life.
wasn't saying Ashley McBryde made that happen for you. I'm saying it reminded me of that.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, being compared to another artist in that kind of way, in a songwriting way,
Sure.
Absolutely an honor. Especially one that I love. I'm like, I did something she could do. That's an honor. Even if I've been, and this doesn't happen often because we don't sound alike at all, but the very few times, like the first time that you watched me sing on YouTube and I did Choose Every Woman, and you said, I can hear Garth's inflections in her voice. I can hear that. That's one of the coolest compliments I've ever gotten in my life, Bobby, because I've always wondered if I could ever sound like him or like anything like that, because my siblings don't sing at all or do music.
I would think it would be the opposite.
You know what
and
I
actually,
mean?
I was a little ashamed that I had said that.
No, that's okay. I think that's cool. But at the time, too, like, you weren't saying, oh, she can sing because of who her dad is. You didn't do that thing of like, oh, genetics must be good. And then you punched me on the shoulder. You know what I mean? You just, Allie was compared in that moment to a song or something of an artist that she loves. And I thought that was really, really cool.
I mean, a tone and a texture.
Yeah.
To me is what it was, more than, hey, she's his kid, obviously. She's going to be able to do that.
Exactly. And those are different. You know what I mean? Like, those things are different. And I can recognize that. So anything that I would have to do with like music, I'm such an honor for. But it's just like, if you told me that little Bobby Bones was walking into the room, I would just think, I would already have a lot of assumptions about little Bobby that all have to do with you. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. That's human nature. It makes sense. I'm just asking more so the industry to help me out, to not put me in that box to people that I'm not going to fit in that box. They're not going to like me in there. You know what I mean? I don't represent him at all. So it's just always been really tough when it's like Garth Brooks' daughter, Allie Colleen, doing this. Now all of a sudden everyone thinks Friends in Low Places is going to be in my set. And it's not.
I never thought about that. The expectation they would have of you to play your dad's songs?
Yeah.
No way.
Mm-hmm. Everywhere I go, yeah.
Yeah, that would wear on me psychologically.
Mm-hmm. It'd be like if people expected you to do someone else's bits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like that. That's not even how that works. Like, no. That's always tough. Like, when you've worked so hard on the product and like what it is. And I love my music. I'm not gonna lie to you, Bobby. I think I'm like one of the best. I love my music. I get so excited every time I write something new, and I get so excited and I love it. But you're not gonna feel that way if you think it's gonna sound like a Garth Brooks song. You know what I mean? And that's always the wall that I hit. I love representing my family and being a daughter and having the parents I have. I love them. I'm so proud of it. I just wish Allie Colleen could also just stand on her own in a conversation, you know, without the legacy.
Then I'm going to ask you a question that's going to be annoying. What does, not the product, but what does your dad say about how to approach that?
About how to approach
finding yourself away from the Garth Brooks product. And there are two different people. There's Garth Brooks, like you said, the product, and then there's your freaking dad.
Yeah.
Who's been through it. Yeah. And knows a lot because he's been through it. Yeah. What is his advice to you?
My dad is, and I might perceive it this way. So this entire conversation from this point on is how Allie perceives this. You
can tell you've been to a lot of therapy because I say the same type of things. You can tell when someone's been through a lot of therapy. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not trying to make a blanket statement about Garth Brooks, you guys, but how I perceive my relationship with my father is I think he's very, very hesitant to tell me anything about music. You know what I mean? Because it just doesn't work the same as it did. I mean, you're talking about generations different on like how he entered the scene, how I'm trying to enter the scene. My dad hates social media and sometimes has thought that maybe I shouldn't do social media like for myself, like to preserve Allie. But I'm like, who else is going to do it, man? Like, I'm an independent artist. It's just me and Bev. That's it. Just me and my manager. That's all we got. So my dad really stays away from that kind of stuff. And I don't ask too many questions either, Bobby. My dad and I have worked out since I was a kid. So maybe that's also why I love the gym. But I've never really
What about your dad? Not the guy that does music, but your dad. Let's say he didn't do music. He'd probably still have advice for somebody doing music on how to differentiate themselves from A to B. Is there not a separation of church and state?
I have worked so hard in learning the difference between Allie Colleen and Allie. And the way that I perceive my father is that he hasn't had that luxury. I don't know that my dad knows that there's a difference between Garth Brooks and Dad.
That's fair. I struggle at times with knowing there's a difference between me, Bobby Estill, and Bobby Bones. And I think I
think I only know because I saw the two difference. You know what I mean? Because like I didn't realize who Dad was until I was probably 12 or 13, because that was the age that I saw the Central Park footage. And I thought, now I get why the grocery store is not that chill for us. You know, like I really didn't. I knew he was huge. I knew he was famous. I didn't know the capacity that it was global. You know what I mean? Like I really didn't understand that. So I saw two different things. And I mean, you being entering to fame the way that you did, you didn't have anybody, you know, that you got to watch be two different things. So my perspective is just really weird.
How do you write a song? You walk back into the barn and you just sit down and write. Is it always there?
It's always there. I've gotten to the point now on guitar where I'm starting to get better at it to where, like, because I used to, if I didn't start the melody on the guitar, I was just screwed and was going to have to sing a song later for a guitar player, in the sense of I'm very good at guitar, but I can't always find my key or my chords, like if I'm making something up. And now I've kind of gotten there. But now I just sit down and I sit down and I'm grateful. I have a skill and a craft that I've worked really hard at, that I've met people that don't have the same outlet. And ever since I realized that, like, it's not always normal for people to sit down and be able to write a song, I became really, really grateful for that. And there is something about, like, surrendering to your craft, like, no matter what it is. There's something about surrendering, like, to yourself and, like, your ability to do something. That's what songwriting feels like for me.
What's your live show like? Because I've seen you play, but it's always, you've played our studio, you've played. I've not seen you out in the wild.
My live show's big.
Yeah, like, what is it?
My music is really big. It's really, like, sonically textured. I'm a big sensory person. I have a lot of sensory stuff. And I just want my show to feel like a 5 Gum commercial. You know what I mean? I want there to be subs.
What?
A 5 Gum commercial, you know, like 5 Gum. It's like, feed your senses. And it's like someone laying on, like, a Bose speaker that's the size of a football field. And they're just, like, laying on it. And, like, the gum
is that a commercial?
Yeah.
Got it.
When you know what I'm talking about?
I do now, yeah.
Yeah. So 5 Gum. I want my show to feel like a sensory experience like that. So we try and we do the whole heavy subs thing. My drummers are always much more rock-oriented than country-oriented. And it's just big and it's fun. And I do an acoustic set in the middle, which is very similar to, like, what I've gotten to do with you in the studio, and to get to play my stuff acoustically for someone right in the middle of my set. But for the rest of the show, I don't hold a guitar or anything. I just run around and I find little girls in the crowd and I put little face tats on them later in the merch line.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I keep eyeliner on me all the time, and I'll give them little horseshoes if they want it.
What do you do before a show? Any rituals?
We have a pre-show shot and a pre-show prayer, where we come together. As far as me personally, no. We all still kind of try and do everything and wear all the hats. So who knows how long sound check goes, you know, and how much time you have ready to get ready afterwards. So it's always kind of a scramble for me.
Do you ever stumble into a song at sound check?
I have not.
It's completely different than you, but if I'm doing a comedy show and I'm testing, you know, we're checking guitars, I'll just say funny stuff over chords. And there have been a few times where I'm like, oh, this is actually a good idea. Let's just sit with it and play it and kind of flesh it out. I think we did a song called, it's so trivial compared to what you do, but we wrote a song called Your Mama's House. Right? And Matt Stell, the artist, and myself were up there. We were playing a show in Atlanta, and we were just going back and forth, but on stage together. And somebody made a Your Mama joke, and I was like, oh, man, we should do that with a song. And so he started playing something, and I think it was like, man, I really love your mama's house. You can always find me there when you're not around. Got a good laugh. But we started just going back and forth. And there's not always time for that there. But
do you write with your band?
No.
Okay, I don't write with my band, so I was wondering if maybe you did.
But I don't have a band. Like I said, I'm not you. You're actually good. I fake being good.
That's not fair.
I have a partner in Eddie. We have a band. I have Brandon. And Brandon, who works with me as well, we'll send each other voice memos. We'll never even be in the same room. And I'll just be like, hey, what about this?
That's
What
cool.
about this? And we'll go back and forth and almost write, like, here's the idea. Is this funny? What if you did this? And 85% of the song gets written like that.
I want to learn how to not be a performer in the writing room. I'm not very good at that also too. Like usually like I have my own room in the Word document. I'm like, if you guys go in there, I swear to God, leave me alone. Okay, you can read out loud all these other things I'm putting on the main page, but my room's my room. Get out of here. And like if I have a chorus idea, I'm going to play you the entire chorus. You know what I mean? I'm going to sit with it and I'm going to write the whole thing and I'm going to ask you if you like it. And I wish I could get a little more not performery in like the writing room.
What about the vulnerability of the writing room?
I think it depends on who I'm writing with. I have some people that I'll call them up and I'll be like, hey, I am not mentally okay or healthy or well today. Can I come over and share with you what's going on? And you kind of scribe it out for me. You know what I mean? And see if we can turn it into something. And I've gotten to a point where those co-writers sometimes are like, Allie, yes, but if you get over here and you're really not okay, we're not going to romanticize this today. Like, we're not going to take everything you're going through and turn it into something for you to sing later when, like, you still are in this. And, like, that's very few people, but I have 2 or 3. And that is the coolest thing on the planet, to not only have someone to go to talk about that stuff, but to have someone stop you from performing and go, hey, you're having a really hard time right now. And the song you're writing is not even, like, reflecting these characters in a true way. Like, you're taking something that really hard that's happening to you. And we're watching you turn it into something that is pretty and packaged and going to be consumed by people. And I feel like this is what you're working really hard to not do. And that's really cool. And then I have other people where you just get in there and you write the song and it's almost always for them, like as an artist or for somebody else. And I get to put on the songwriter hat that day. And my job is to sit there and mediate someone's feelings and to help them kind of put it into something. It's just always different. But the songwriting community in Nashville is so diverse and it's so different. And so each write is different in its own way too, which I love with the ADHD brain of like not wanting to do the same thing ever again, you know? So you can always do something different with the co-writers in Nashville.
The EP, there's 5 songs on it. Why just 5 songs?
These were the 5 that I didn't think anyone would ever relate to. These are the 5 that I didn't think were commercial. These were the 5 that Allie cared about and she couldn't get past them. You know, I wasn't going to go and release another single that I thought was super commercial when I had these 5 that I've sat on. Sincerely Rolling Stone, I've sat on since 2021. And I love that song. And these were the 5 that I just wanted to put out as a very sincere, this is what a reflection of Allie's world is right now, is these songs.
I have a question then, because the EP is Sincerely Rolling Stone, but isn't the song just called Rolling Stone? Because now I'm confused.
So the song is called Rolling Stone, parentheses, sincerely.
Oh.
Or Sincerely, parentheses, Rolling Stone.
You see
however you want to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, everyone asks about this. Our first album was the same way. The first album is called Stones, parentheses, I don't give a. Mm-hmm. And people never know what the song title is.
So
I'm eclectic like
that.
The
EP is Sincerely, Rolling
Sincerely,
Stone.
Rolling Stone.
But track 1 is Rolling Stone, parentheses, Sincerely.
Yes.
What the crap?
Because the song is,
messing with us at this point?
Song is, I want to be your rock, and I'm sorry that I'm not. Sincerely, you're Rolling Stone. So the EP is Sincerely Rolling Stone because it's just a sincere project from me. And the song is just called Rolling Stone because that's what people come up and request. They say, will you play the Rolling Stone song? So it's called Rolling Stone.
People were requesting it before it was put out?
I've been playing this live since 2021.
And if people were requesting it, then, I don't know, why would you think that song would be the most non-commercial or not?
They're probably lying to me, Bobby.
Here we go. Now we're getting to the trauma again. We're going back to the trauma.
They're probably lying to me.
All 5 of these songs, they're different. I mean, even when listening, because I tell you what, this was easy to listen to because it was only 5. Sometimes people will be like, here's 73 songs. I don't even listen to all of them.
Yeah, put this in your notes. Bobby will listen to 73 songs.
Bobby
guys.
will not.
That's crazy.
No,
now that I know that.
No, but Bobby will be like, I didn't get a chance to hear them all. So, but these 5 songs, I mean, I don't know. Now that you say how that project is, what it means, it makes more sense. Mm-hmm. Then, because they all 5 don't fit perfectly together. Mm-mm. Is that insulting in any way? Because I didn't feel like...
No, it's not insulting
but
at all.
now it makes sense if that's why you picked the 5 songs.
Yeah, these are my 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not this was not a rolled out, do we have this song on it? Do we have one of these songs on it? Do we have one of these songs?
Because that's what I expect most of the time now. Whenever it's, hey, we're releasing whatever the project is, we need a mid, we need an up, we need a down, we need a set. You know, there are these roles that each song has to play. I didn't feel that this met that criteria.
Yeah, it doesn't have it at all. These are the 5 that meant the world to me that I wasn't sure if anyone else was going to care about. But I have a really, really amazing close following. Like the followers that I have, like I'm very close with my following. You have a really private fan club that like gets together for like Thanksgiving, and like it's really special to me. And the cool kids have been asking for these 5 songs for the last couple of years, all the time. So I thought I'm gonna put together a sincere project of Allie, because the single world is always chasing, you know, what represents me as a commercial artist. Like it always has been, always will be, and it's how it's structured to do that. And so if there was a single from this, it was Grass on the Grave, and we released that as a single before it came out. But yeah, they're not supposed to go together. And then also Household Name was something that I was never going to be too confident about releasing as a single, because I didn't want all the attention to be on Household Name. I wanted to be a part of a project, and a sincere project at that. So Household Name made it on this one, which was one that I wasn't sure if I was ever going to share with anybody. And it's one of my favorite songs on there, only because it sonically achieves everything I've wanted to. It's like the thunder rolls of Amy Lee in 3 Days Grace, which is like my favorite thing on the planet.
Amy Lee is an Evanescence Amy Lee?
Yes.
Yeah.
I listened to 47 minutes of Thunder pre-roll to pick the probably second and a half of Thunder that's in Household Name. I'm so proud of that.
Thunder pre-roll. Is that just
searching Thunder sounds and just listening to everyone, because I needed the perfect Thunder crash. Like I needed the perfect Thunder that would have been in Thunder rolls but wasn't, and would represent Allie. And I picked it out. I was so proud of it. So I had a lot of fun creating this project, but it's not for, I don't feel like it's for commercial listeners. I feel like it's for the people that care about Allie, and represents exactly what like our next chapter of music commercially is going to be.
Then do this for me as we end, because I want to play on the National Countdown show Grass on the Grave. So I always like a good soundbite. So just tell me what the song's about, so then I don't have to edit anything together.
Of course.
I can just play this clip.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Grass on the Grave is just a song for you to grieve all of your plans, whatever they are. For me, it was a relationship. It was an entire future. It was a marriage. For some people, it was a vacation in 2020 that they budgeted for 3 years that they never got to take. For some people, it's fertility. For some people, it's all of these different things. And Grass on the Grave is just a real cool sonic song that isn't supposed to be too heavy, isn't supposed to be too hard, that just allows you 3 minutes of absolute frustration of what something was supposed to be. But you're still going to be okay because there's grass on the grave.
You nailed it, except you had no choice but to nail it because it's your story. You really couldn't have not nailed it.
Yeah, would you have been like, reframe it?
Yeah, I'd be like,
give us a reframe.
Yeah, can you?
Can you say it again but better?
You're extremely magnetic as a person.
Are my magnets on the right side?
Doesn't matter.
It does. One will push you away and one will draw you in.
Yeah, but what pushes someone away?
Have you seen that? My therapist did that with me with magnets.
Yeah, I just don't. I temporarily would push someone away. Yeah. I think we probably all, our magnets all change.
Yeah.
And I think I've been pushed away by certain magnets that later I've realized, oh, I shouldn't have been pushed away at all. I should have actually, but that's what probably pushed me away, was feeling so uncomfortable that I wanted to be drawn so close.
Perspective on polarity is crazy.
I've spent a lot of money in therapy.
I haven't. Porter Call is completely free.
Good for you. Mm-hmm. And good for everybody who...
I feel like it would be free for you also, but...
Yeah. I don't know if they think I'm an artist enough. And also, I like my therapist to be really close to my house. So, I go to my wife and I go to therapy every 2 weeks. We've been going since before we got... Well, I guess right when we got married.
That's hot.
It's awesome, except it's not. Like, it's hard.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure.
But it has... I think for me,
hard is hot. You can quote me on that.
I don't know that I will, but I will say that it has allowed me to live in an uncomfortable moment with my wife. And I never really had a relationship that was intimate where I just thought everything intimate had to be perfect.
No, feeling uncomfortable and feeling safe at the same time, that's crazy.
And for me, that has been the most growth I've had, is that it's okay for it to be comfortable and uncomfortable and to live in it.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens with normal humans. I didn't have normal human relationships, so I didn't know. I thought every time we fought, she hates me. It's over.
No, the only time I could get you to talk about anything personal last time was if it was about you and your dogs.
That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's a bit different. So I've been able to grow in that a lot. And then my personal, I go every other week to my own as well. But he's a psychiatrist and he can give medicine.
Hell yeah.
And I took a bunch of OCD medicine I was on for a long time because sometimes I get way, way, way obsessed with things. I put on like 30 pounds. I didn't even know.
Did it help at all?
Yeah, I put on 30 pounds.
Well,
I'm just like, I'd rather be focused and not have to buy new clothes. I was having to buy pants. I was like, what's happening right now? My wife was like, did you check your medicine?
Medicine's scary.
Yeah.
Medicine's scary.
And the medicine's like, you will gain 3 pounds a month or whatever it was. And I was like, how did I not know this? So
There's something else for you to be OCD about. That's crazy.
Exactly. Now I'm OCD about not being on OCD medicine. So yeah, it's been a big part of my life. I'm glad to hear that
I'm proud of
you're
you.
so open about it as well, because I think people need to hear people talking about the benefits of it and not the stigma of it.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
So I
incredible.
appreciate you being so open about it and talking about it.
Thank you.
And you got the good magnets. You're north, I'm south right now. We're drawn. You're very magnetic. You guys can follow Allie. We put all of her information down, Allie's information down below, and we talked about it before she got here. So nothing has changed since we spoke before Allie got here. At least I don't think so. Right, Mike?
No,
All still clear? Okay,
no,
good. Allie, great to see you as always.
Thank you so much.
And congratulations on the record. And now it all makes sense. But nothing ever makes fully sense. And if it does start to make sense, then you don't actually understand it. You can quote me on that.
I probably will.
No way you can remember that because I don't even remember what I just said. All right, that's it. Thank you.